If you ever walk through the streets of Budapest on a cold evening, there's a good chance you'll catch a familiar smell drifting through the air. Rich paprika, slow-cooked beef, onions melting into a deep red broth. That smell belongs to Hungary's most famous dish, goulash. But goulash is more than a meal. It's a story of survival, identity, and national pride. To understand goulash, we need to travel back nearly 1,000 years, long before restaurants, recipe books, or even modern kitchens existed. The word goulash comes from the Hungarian word Goulash, which literally means herdsman. And that's exactly where the story begins, with the cattle herders of the vast Hungarian plains, known as the puszta. Centuries ago, these herdsmen spent months traveling across open grasslands, driving cattle from the countryside to markets across Europe. They lived outdoors, slept under the sky, and cooked over open fires. They needed food that was simple, filling, and easy to prepare with limited ingredients. Their solution? A humble stew made from the meat of their own cattle. They would cut beef into chunks, cook it slowly in a large iron pot called a bograc, and season it with onions and whatever herbs they had available. But at this point, the dish looked very different from the goulash we know today, because one key ingredient was still missing: paprika. Paprika feels inseparable from Hungarian food today, but surprisingly, it didn't arrive in Europe until the 16th century. After Christopher Columbus returned from the Americas, chili peppers slowly made their way across Europe through trade routes. At first, they were seen as exotic and expensive, but in rural parts of Hungary, farmers began cultivating peppers locally. Over time, Hungarians learned how to dry, grind, and transform them into the bright red powder we now know as paprika. This changed goulash forever. Paprika didn't just add flavor, it added color, identity, and warmth. It turned a simple meat stew into a dish with a bold personality. The deep red broth became a signature look, instantly recognizable and uniquely Hungarian. By the 18th century, paprika had become the heart of goulash. For centuries, goulash remained a rustic meal eaten mostly by shepherds and peasants. The Hungarian nobility preferred French and Austrian cuisine, which was considered more refined. But everything changed in the 19th century. At the time, Hungary was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Hungarian culture and language were under heavy influence from Vienna, and many Hungarians began searching for ways to celebrate and preserve their national identity. Food became one of the most powerful tools. Suddenly, the dishes of the countryside, including goulash, became symbols of patriotism. Restaurants in Budapest began serving goulash proudly as a national dish. What was once a humble herdsman's meal became a culinary flag of Hungarian identity. Eating goulash became more than enjoying a meal. It became a way of saying, "This is who we are." If you order goulash outside Hungary, you might receive a thick beef stew served with noodles or mashed potatoes. But if you order it in Budapest, you may be surprised. Authentic Hungarian goulash, gulyaslévs, is actually closer to a soup than a stew. It's lighter, brothier, and often includes potatoes, carrots, and sometimes small dumplings. It's designed to be eaten from a bowl, often as a main course soup, rather than a heavy stew. So how did the confusion happen? As goulash spread across Europe, each country adapted it to local tastes. In Germany and Austria, it became thicker. In the United States, it sometimes transformed into a pasta dish. Over time, the name stayed the same, but the dish evolved in many different directions. Yet in Hungary, the original version still holds strong. The most authentic goulash isn't made in a kitchen, it's made outdoors. In Hungary, cooking goulash in a bograc over an open fire is still a beloved tradition. Families and friends gather outside, hang the pot over flames, and cook slowly while talking, laughing, and sharing stories. Making goulash is not rushed. The onions must soften slowly. The paprika must be added carefully so it doesn't burn. The meat must simmer until tender. It's a process that encourages patience and togetherness. In many ways, goulash isn't just about food, it's about community. Today, goulash has traveled far beyond Hungary. You can find it in restaurants across Europe, North America, and even Asia. Every country has its own version, its own twist, its own interpretation. But if you visit Budapest and taste a traditional bowl of goulash, you're tasting something deeper than a recipe. You're tasting the life of medieval herdsmen. You're tasting the arrival of paprika from the New World. You're tasting a nation's pride and history in a single bowl. And maybe that's why goulash has survived for centuries, because it tells a story, not just of ingredients, but of people. So the next time you see a steaming bowl of goulash, remember, you're not just looking at soup. You're looking at Hungary's history, one spoonful at a time.